kindergartners, we have been reading The Tiny Seed, and today we're going to be talking about the setting of the story. So the setting is, where did they go? Where were they? We talked about the character the last time and how the character in The Tiny Seed is the tiny seed. It's the character in our story. And today we're going to be talking about the setting. Where were they? Where did the tiny seed go? Were they inside? Were they outside? Were they at a store? Were they at a school? Where were they? So we're going to look and see some different places where the tiny seed went. Okay? All right, here we go. It is autumn. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than any of the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? Where are they all going? One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up, up, up it goes. It flies too high and the sun's hot rays burn it up. But the tiny seed sails on with the others. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. The ice never melts, and the seed cannot grow. The rest of the seeds fly on, but the tiny seed does not go as fast as the others. Now they fly over the ocean. One seed falls into the water and drowns, and the others sail on with the wind, but the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. One seed drifts down onto the desert. It is hot and dry, and the seeds cannot grow. But the tiny seed is flying very low, but the wind pushes it on with the others. Finally, the wind stops, and the seed gently falls down on the ground. A bird comes by and eats one seed. The tiny seed is not eaten. It is so small that the bird does not see it. Now it is winter. After the long trip, the seeds settle down. They look just as if they are going to sleep in the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft white blanket. A hungry mouse that also lives in the ground eats a seed for his lunch. But the tiny seed lies very still, and the mouse does not see it. Now it is spring. After a few months, the snow has melted. It is really spring. Birds fly by, the sun shines, rain falls, the seeds grow so round and full they start to burst open a little. Now they are not seeds anymore. They are plants. First they send roots down into the earth. Then their little stems and the leaves grow up toward the sun and air. There's another plant that grows much faster than the new little plants. It is a big fat weed. It takes all the sunlight and the rain away from one of the small new plants, and the little plant dies. The tiny seed hasn't begun to grow yet. It'll be too late, hurry! But finally, it starts to grow into a plant. The warm weather also brings the children out to play. They too have been waiting for the sun in springtime. One child doesn't see the plants as he runs along, and oh, he breaks one. Now it can't grow anymore. The tiny plant that grew from this tiny seed is growing fast, but its neighbor grows even faster. Before the tiny plant has 3 leaves, the other plant has 7. And look, a bud, and now even a flower. But what is happening? There are footsteps, then a shadow looms over. Then a hand reaches down and breaks off the flower. A boy has picked the flower to give to a friend. It is summer. Now the tiny plant from the tiny seed is all alone. It grows on, and it doesn't stop. The sun shines on it, and the rain waters it. It has many leaves. It grows taller and taller. It is taller than the people. It is taller than the trees. It is taller than the houses. And now a flower grows on it. People come from far and near to look at this flower. It is the tallest flower they have ever seen. It is a giant flower. All summer long, the birds and the bees and the butterflies come visiting. They have never seen such a big and beautiful flower. Now it is autumn again. The days grow shorter, the nights grow cooler, and the wind carries yellow and red leaves past the flower. Some petals drop from the giant flower, and they sail along the bright leaves over the land and down to the ground. The wind blows harder. The flower has lost almost all of its petals. It sways and bends away from the wind, but the wind grows stronger and shakes the flower. And once more the wind shakes the flower, and this time the flower seeds pop open, and out come many tiny seeds that quickly sail far away on the wind. Now that tiny seed traveled a lot in our story. So in the beginning of the story, it was flowing in the wind outside, and it was up by the sun. So that was one of the settings in our story. They were outside the whole time. Did we ever see the tiny seed go inside? No, we didn't. We did see him outside in the wind. So we can draw the little tiny seed, we can draw some wind, and he was outside. Now the tiny seed went to many different places. He saw the sun, so we could draw a sun. Do you remember any other places that the tiny seed went? Let's look at our story. So there's the sun. Where else did they go? To the mountains. They went past the mountains. So we could draw some mountains. They went past the mountains. Where else did they go? The water, the ocean. So we could draw an ocean. They went into the water. Now, where else did the tiny seed fly? Ooh, they went to the desert. So now we could draw a desert. We can draw a cactus. So the tiny seed flew in the sky past some mountains and an ocean and a desert. And then where did he finally land? He finally landed in some grass. And that's where he stayed for the rest of the story. He just grew, the tiny seed grew bigger and bigger and bigger. So the last place that the tiny seed went was to some grass. So we can draw some grass. And that's where the tiny seed grew. All right, so here was our setting in our story. Our character, the tiny seed, was outside the whole time. He went by the sun, the tiny seed was up by mountains, the ocean, a desert, and then finally landed in some grass. So remember, the setting is where was the character in our story? And these were all the places that the character went in our story. All right, go ahead and draw your picture of our setting, and then you can post it onto Seesaw.